Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna look at a portfolio done by a designer whose name is Irene. Irene has been working in the UX industry for roughly 6 years now, and honestly this is one of the best portfolios that I have seen in a while. So I wanted to share this with you guys and see maybe there are things you can learn from it and ideas you can borrow when you're working on your own projects. One other note on this portfolio we're gonna look at today. So Irene, with this portfolio, she has gotten different interviews from top tech companies. So in case you guys are interested on seeking those opportunities, this might be a good reference to get an idea, okay, what is a good portfolio look like that can get you potentially into interviewing opportunities with the top tech companies. And just a quick reminder, so I share everything about UX on my channel, from interviewing tips to design critiques, portfolio reviews. So if you are interested on the topic, please feel free to hit the subscribe so you won't miss any of my upcoming sessions. Okay, let's do it. So what we're looking at is the landing page of Irene's design portfolio. First of all, there's a really clean header, name, portfolio, about me, and the resume section. There's a fun, nice little GIF here about who Irene is, with a little intro there. Hey there, I specialize in product design with a background in service design, creating experience for people. There is a link here, view my projects, and a secondary paragraph here with more information about who Irene is and a bit more about her experience. And here, let's quickly take a look what else we got here. There are a list of projects that Irene has done on the homepage. So first of all, I think the impression is it's very clean and professionally done. And with this, in terms of the quantity, it looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects. So this is a really good, solid amount of projects to show on portfolio. And I love that Irene is showing in a very structured way with a hero image on the left. And in each project card, first of all, it's a clear subject line of what is the name of the project. The first, in this case, BBC, BRB, and there is a brief intro of what this product is. For example, the first one, enhance digital wellness through the adoption of nudge strategies, which is a built-in feature that detects which tool is appropriate for each user. So it's a very brief intro that get you an immediate idea what this project is about. And also, in addition to that, I noticed on the top, there are some hashtags that shows, for example, here, user research, UX UI, design strategy. So I'm assuming this is probably talking about Irene's involvement or Irene's role when she's worked on this project. So this information is really helpful, I think, for me, in this case, as a hiring manager, that get an immediate idea of, okay, what's your role on here? Like, did you do the UX or also the visual design, or you involved in design strategy, branding, or any other stuff from the perspective? So, and with a different color and the hashtag on the top, I think is really appropriate, like representing secondary information like this, the category and role of this designer. And there's a call to action button to view this project, included in all those project cards. And looking at a few other examples here, it looks like Irene has done a good combination of mobile and desktop project. The hero image are, I think, are very well selected. It has a different mix of, okay, using the real life circumstance of how this screen mock look like in real life, and along with some of other, like, okay, for example, this one, family chart, this feels a little bit different. It doesn't show like a phone mock or desktop, which is perfectly fine, which might be indicating this might be a little different than the other projects with the hero image. And there, the emphasis might be also different here in terms of the project type. So, or in the last one, you know, this looks like, oh, there's might be like a smart speaker or something like IoT product. There you go. So the last one looks like Irene has done a project also related to hardware design. So I think the hero image, you know, one image tells 1,000 words. That's another, like, I think I talk about this all the time, but if you can like select a good image that can really gives the user, gives the audience immediate idea of what is this project about, that's always, I think, a great step to start on your landing page. So first of all, I think the landing page is really well done. It feels with the little touch and details to the background here and the GIF, it feels very fun, dynamic. At the same time, it's lightweight enough that it doesn't make any distractions. So the core attention is still on the projects. So now let's take a look at one of Irene's project. I am gonna just pick up this one, Runny, today. So it sounds like this project is about designing a mobile app for a running community that encourages people to go for a run by matchmaking running buddies and adopting various incentives. So let's take a look. What is Runny about? So, okay, now we are on the project page. First of all, there is a app logo and a hero image, Runny, an online running community that helps you connect with like-minded runners and stay motivated. See, this is the level of, I think, how condensed and how clear you need to get into when you talk about high level, what is this product about? And I love the language here. It's so simple, straightforward, that anybody landed on this page without any background of what Runny is about, after reading this line and seeing this hero image, you know, I think I already have a good sense of what this product is about, and it raised my interest now. I want to find out more. I think this hero image is very well picked, and it's with the actual mark and laid screen. I'm assuming this is probably one of the keyframes, either the dashboard or probably the profile page. It shows some like high level, for example, hey, hi Laura, on my dashboard, let's start running. With this like little diagram and some data visualization here, it looks very, I think, clean, simple, but shows me, okay, probably some of the top most relevant information that I would like to know as a runner. So let's continue. So starting with a project summary, Runny is a mobile app that helps people find a running buddy online and motivates people to run strategically. There is this high-level summary of what is Irene's scope, who's the client, how long is the project's duration, and what is the designer's role here. So again, I think this section is always very helpful to give a high-level summary, so the recruiter or the hiring manager can grasp immediately, okay, what's your role, what's the scope, and before diving into the details. Now, what's the context? I think it's always helpful to know a little bit context. This is a section that I think in many portfolios that I have seen, there's often a common issue that designers tends to go in too much depth, too much details about the context. You know, again, back to the point of the purpose of making a UX portfolio is to get you to the next round, to get you to an interview, right? So, and the portfolio, you are the owner. And it's a chance for you to tell your project experience, your background, what's the work you have done, what you feel the proud of it, what's the most interesting part, rather than introducing a company. And it's not necessary to go into too much detail and talking the story from a company perspective, because from a hiring manager's perspective, honestly, I don't care what's the company goal here. And the reason why I'm looking at portfolio is to try to understand what you have worked on, and how did you develop your design ideas and how you approach a problem, and what's your impact. So I think what Irene has here in terms of explaining the context is a perfect lens, and you don't need to put actually more than that. And also like to kind of make it relatable to what is your role. The team was small and we worked in an agile manner by continually updating our concept from the user feedback. That's perfect. You don't need to talk about too much about, okay, what is Runny about? What is this business about? You know, like have the storyline, own the story, and tell the story in your own perspective. The next section is talking about the challenge. There is a clear statement. The challenge was to redesign brand image and UX flow and improve user engagement on an existing mobile app. This is super clear. And then it has increased the conversion rate and generate business plans, improve user engagement. Okay, this part seems a little bit confusing to me. So minor critique is the language. You might want to reword it a little bit. So this is crystal clear what the bullet points are talking about. Because from my perspective, reading the bullet point, this sounds to me more of a project goal or how you set up the success rather than the challenge. So yeah, and I think there might be a room you can actually make the language even more clear to expand into those bullet points. Then we have, why is this a problem? People lack the motivation to go running alone. People do not know how to find a running buddy who can fit their running routine. And the third one, experienced runners like to coach junior runners. Overall, I think this has a really good structure. Explain why is this a problem with the different color, like it has the highlight with the very brief one sentence talking about the 3 different perspectives of this problem. And then we want to find out more. There is a secondary paragraph talking about more in details. Then it shows outcome. What is outcome about? After shipping new identity, the number of users has increased by 150% within 3 months along with marketing campaign. Second, an improved user experience that is liked by 90% of users. Third, the business landscape has grown. Okay, I love that actually, this designer is showing the design outcome at the start of the story, at the beginning of the story. I think outcome is really, critical information, and a lot of time, like more of a process typical template I see that a lot designer tends to follow is to show the impact at the very end of the case study. There's no right or wrong, but I think, no matter where and when you decide to show it with data, like what Irene did here. How does the business outcome has grow like by 150% within what time frame? And in terms of user experience, likability, 90% of users. If you have any kind of data to support your design impact, I would definitely show it. And I think to actually talk about outcome at the beginning is really, I love this idea. I think is very powerful to make the hiring manager feel even more interested to read more about the story. Now, design approach. Cool, looks like this is a diagram showing this designer's design process or approach. I start from discovery, define, design, and implementation. I think visually, this is a really clean way showing what has the designer done in which phase of this project, and how has that drive and lead to the next part of the work. So from understand the product vision, to the branding side of work, to understand the user flow and journey, to working on UI and creating visual assets. So overall, I think this is actually a helpful way to show like your individual involvement and what is your contribution to this project as a designer. What have you done in different phases to drive the project continue move forward? Then there's persona. So there are a couple of different personas. And there's a high-level summary by conducting guerrilla research. We interviewed 12 people and identified 4 types of runners who could be our target users. Again, the language here is super condensed. You don't have to go into too much details explaining the persona, where the visual card here is actually explaining all the details about each type of design, the persona. So I think this is really, visually it's very strong, and structure-wise it's very clear. And if you are interested to look at the details of each of this persona, there is a downloadable PDF available, which is always handy. Key finding. Desirable factors for running. What are the needs? What are the goals? Track progress, active running group, discover new routes nearby, and knowledge sharing. Okay, and then the finding about the goals is users want to run on a weekly basis, participate in local running events. There's some social aspect, community aspect about it, complete a running challenge, and stay healthy. Cool. So this is like a quick summary, I think, from the research findings based on the different personas. Those are the key user needs, and those are the key user goals. So again, this is visually, telling the story in a very clean way. There's no need to go into any more detailed level on this surface, but with the clear, coloring, color coding, the label, first of all, it's very clear there are 4 different types of persona that this designer has considered about. And based on the research, those are the findings of what are the user needs and the goals. So I think, again, this information hierarchy is very clear. Then what is POV framing? As a user, I need to, because of insights, I see, this is talking about a framing of the problem. And I'm not gonna go into too much detail over here. Then following that part, we have user insights. So basically, what are the user needs and what are the user goals? Minor critique on the text layout over here. This is probably a little bit nitpicky, but since you are already using a bullet point structure, I would try to align the text without, some indent, some without indent, just to make it, that will make it visually, I think, even cleaner. Then we have opportunity. How might we create a sustainable online running community with engaging strategies that can help connect like-minded people? Cool. I think this area is definitely a key information. Like for the hiring manager to be able to capture this key information, I think this designer did a really good job using different color, different visual treatment to make this section really stand out before jumping into the solutions. Okay. Then we have the solution, delightful onboarding. Cool. So I see there are a couple of like screen marks over here following the onboarding part. And with the bullet point, easy to log in, battery is a mechanism that ensures people. Cool. I think so. This bullet point looks like the highlight of some of the key design decisions, why this designer made certain decisions and working on onboarding and why it is. So along with the visual, it's really strong. I think the visual is has the personality, the organic movement in it. If you want to know a bit more details, you can always take a quick look here and relate to what this is supporting the argument. Then it has find your buddies. Cool. So then in this section, there are a couple of more screen marks. I guess this is focusing on the experience of, as a user, how can I find my buddies? There's 3 very quick bullet points. There are 3 ways to get a buddy for running. Select buddies based on algorithms. Third, wait for a buddy to confirm the invitation. So this language is very, brief, condensed, but it explained very well what are the key steps involved and how as a user can find a buddy. Then with the visual of the marks showing here, and there's an arrow pointing from, okay, what leads to next. By tapping on find your buddy, it will take me to the second screen. On here, I can select active runner among different options. And from there, it will take me to the next step with the bottom sheet popping up, find a active runner. And I don't know, this might be like recommendations of potential candidates, might be a good match. And I can browse. After confirm, check, it will take me to the final screen. Okay, this is probably my dashboard, I guess, waiting for response. So I might, looks like I might need to get a confirmation before the final actually find a buddy, running buddy. So again, I think this visually does a really good job. The mock-up itself, the screen marks itself is very polished and very, I think, professionally done. And let alone that, I think the visual guidance with the arrow, with the step-by-step and the high-level summary at the beginning, it gives a very clear indication and a guide of, as a user, as a hiring manager, how am I going to understand this already? And this is, I think, telling this in a visual way with minimum amount of text in a very successful way. So next we have unlock hidden features. I'm not going to go into super detailed level, but again, I think, so it looks like this designer is breaking down this project story, the solution, into different areas. From the first one we looked at, onboarding, delightful onboarding, to the second, how to find your buddies. And then there's how to unlock hidden features. Cool. And how to track running outcome, to informative running records. How can I check my running history from daily, weekly to monthly, and browsing, running challenge and rewards. There are more about how can I explore events with practical incentives. So, it's broken down into those smaller cases from the overall project, but each section is separated but connected. It's kind of like from timing wise, they started from onboarding, which makes a lot of sense. And as we move forward from finding bodies to different activities to last, like how do you explore events? I think the storyline and last, like how do you engage with others with this online running community, introducing the social factor into this product. And even introduce more about set up unique profile to show more and take advantage of using interest and achievements. So, in this way, although, we have already looked a lot, like this designer has done tons of, I think, many different perspectives in this product has been involved, from onboarding, from searching, from how to discover, to how to get connected, how to get engaged in a community. But because the way this designer is telling this project in small pieces of case studies with different, like a little bit different visual treatment of the background, but consistent format of just select a few key screens in each case. Like you don't have to show the whole flow, but what are the most important screens, the most important key steps involved in this part of the user journey. Just show that as the highlight, along with some storyline explaining, okay, what are the key steps involved in this experience, in this part of the journey? What is the problem you're trying to solve for the user? So overall, it feels actually very pleasant and interesting. And I have, we have looked a lot together, but it doesn't feel boring at all. And I want to see more, to scroll and learn more about this project, because it's not, the information is presented in a very smart way. It is well structured. It's not overwhelming. And with the slight, the detail paid attention into the visual treatment, each part feels like super appealing and interesting to look at. And from the size of the visual, the screen box, to the background, to the size of the font, the selection, and how condensed the language are put into the story in this bullet point, I think overall this has done a really good job in telling the story of a complex project. I think this has really done a very good job in storytelling, virtually, both virtually and logistically. Now we have iterations. Some before and after shows, okay, what are some design iterations the designer has done as part of the exploration. Before with the different shades, there's the after with the screens are shown in bigger size, which makes perfect sense. Then there's the UX flow. Okay, I think this is probably talking about information architecture or actually the sitemap. Okay, yeah, this is very helpful to lay out. So, about the actual structure of this mobile app. Then, okay, I think we're getting to the end of the project. There's a prototype. I think this is probably a video or GIF showing a prototype of how this product works. This is awesome. And talk a little bit about design principles. I love those fun illustrations, which always makes the story a bit more interesting and very easy to understand. Make interactions fun, matchmaking like-minded buddies, and so on. How does it work? Mapping out a user scenario to show what a journey look like. Okay. So awareness of the service comes to user engagement. Then it has hidden features, online community, and track your performance. I see. This is, okay, how does it work? Mapping out a user. This is, okay, this is probably talking about the user journey, starting from the beginning of download the app. And how does that unfold? Like each step or the key steps involved in the user journey. I think this is a nice way to show it. Minor critique is the first glance, I did not get this is actually from beginning to the end. So maybe because this has actually 2 rows, from 1 to 10, the number does help in that sense, but I think the visual presentation made it a little bit confusing. This is actually talking about user journey, but also I think it does a good job in showing some more details in this journey. In each step, what are some key considerations? So I think, yeah, this has done an overall good job. UX benchmarking, measure success by using the Google Heart framework. Final thoughts and takeaway. Cool. So this comes to the final thoughts and takeaway. What designer, after working on this project, what are some after thoughts? And yeah, overall, this feels a very complete story. End to end, the designer has unfolded this story in a very interesting way, started by, right after, I think, the problem statement, we have looked at what is the outcome. So, and then the designer has talked about, okay, what is the process? How has she approached this problem? And from research to findings, key findings, and then moving into, okay, the POV framing, user insights, And from, again, highlighting what is the, how might we, what is the problem we're trying to solve, then the designer started like talking, really introducing the solutions, case by case, from onboarding to finding your buddies to different part of the journey. I think this has done a really good job telling a complex project story in a very visually appealing way, and also clear to understand for any users. So if I were to make any suggestion, besides the ones we already mentioned as we looking at this project case study, I think is probably the storyline. I think I love the part that this actually talk about outcome at the first. However, as we move past those project solutions and iterations, it has some areas talking about UX flow. I think the sitemap or the mobile sitemap over here. And this feels to me is something probably you would have to think early on as the designer when you work on this project. So just a suggestion, like you might want to think about where to position or where to show this UX flow that fits the best part of the story, because it feels a little bit odd, you know, after seeing all the solutions and before after there is the mobile app. Just because this is usually something as a designer, you'd have to think about this before you get into any visual or high fidelity work. Yeah, this is my other, I think, minor critique is the journey map. I think, how does it work? This is also, you know, I wonder if this information might be even more helpful to show it up front, because we looked at those case studies broken down, like breaking down into smaller pieces, from how to onboard, how to get engaged with other users, how to get involved into a community. Would it help to have a user journey? How does that look like upfront, or keeping it at the end fits the better of the story? So this is more of a question than suggestion, I guess. Just food for thoughts. At the end, before you go into the thoughts, takeaways, what we can do more in future, maybe to have a bit more solid data in communicating or conveying your actual design impact on the business outcome. That would be one more thing I think I would recommend you to think more about. But overall, this is very well done. Cool. At the end, let's take a look on the About Me page, like we always do. Beautiful picture, and I love the visual of the frame, About Me. And there's the social links where you can get in touch with Irene. There's a brief intro. I'm a product designer, experience, main focus. Cool, I really like that. This designer used those bolded tags like to communicate and put some focus on the keywords. And I think this is a good amount of information to touch a bit more on, okay, beyond what's your focus area, what do you enjoy doing? And in future, what will you feel passionate? What are you looking for in your next opportunities? So, and then we have my value, curiosity, co-creation, holistic, and passion. I love those. I think those illustrations are really fun and add some personality into communicating who you are, not only as a designer, but as a person. Then it has my design field. Okay, talking about digital product, service design, strategy. Okay, and selected clients. So I guess those are probably the clients or the companies this designer has worked with. My inspirations. So some inspirations, some quotes from what has been inspiring the designer in everyday work and everyday life. I think this is very well done. And as About Me page, you know, beyond a basic who you are type of text information, how to get in touch with you, Irene has added some more interesting information here, visually conveying who she is and what she's interested on, how she works, and what she feels passionate about, and with some inspirations. Like, you know, I think as a designer, this is always the icing on the cake, but I think this is actually core to any designer. Like, what drives you in your everyday work to try to aim for better, to create better design, better works, better outcomes. So have something touch on what inspires you is always, I think, lovely to see. So yeah, I think this concludes our review today. This designer has done a really good job of storytelling for a project that has a pretty big scope and end-to-end involvement. How to unfold that story in a way that is, clear, easy to understand, and visually appealing, and also has a really clear storyline from the beginning to the end. So yeah, please feel free to take a look and leave me any comment. I hope this review is helpful for you guys, and I feel like I learned a lot by doing this exercise. Actually, awesome experience that I get to see so many different portfolios done by designers with different background, different experience and personality. Always excited to hear if you have anything you'd like to hear more about. So please leave me a comment. I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.